Okay, Benny. So we're going to finish up this listing here with the first team that is coming in with positive net points. And that would be one Denver Broncos. So that means they finished what, 17th in our total ranking of net points. Their GM is Nathaniel Hackett, head coach Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, their GM is George Patton.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think
George
that was another
Patton,
new
general
addition.
manager.
Yes.
Offensive coordinator Justin Alton.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator Hero Evero.
Ejiro Evero. Yes.
All right. Special teams Dwayne Stutes. And quarterback one Russell Dangerous Wilson.
Yes. And I can't think of another brain trust out there that wouldn't want to add Russell Wilson to their way of thinking as far as their team goes, especially their offense. The Denver Broncos grabbing Russell Wilson made a lot of noise in the sporting world, but he wasn't the only guy they got. They also got Randy Gregory away from the Cowboys, so that was a big deal too. But let's see who's making these moves. That would be the general manager, George Patton. He's worked as a scout and a director of player personnel for a lot of teams, the Bears, the Dolphins, and the Vikings. He served as an assistant GM for the Vikings from 2012 up to 2020, which is when he was hired as the GM for the Broncos. I'm sorry, he was hired as the GM for the Broncos just last season, 2021. So because he was there, he made the Russell Wilson move, and he's the one that's building this team now. All the recent moves were taken care of by Mr. George Patton. So he's off to a good start. The head coach is Nathaniel Hackett. He's another guy who moved back and forth between the NFL and college, as another guy said earlier. This guy actually coached for the Bills, then went to coach at Syracuse University, which is also in New York State, then came back to coach for the Bills again. I'm not exactly sure what prompts a move like that, but he came back, and working for the Bills organization, I think, is a good thing. He was also the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars and for the Packers last year before coming over to the Denver Broncos. So he's got a nice little resume. The offensive coordinator is Justin Alton. He'd been an intern and an assistant with the Falcons and a tight end coach with the Packers just last year. He is now the new offensive coordinator for the Broncos. This guy doesn't have much of a resume, folks. I don't know how that's going to work out.
There's two guys from the Packers, right?
Yes, two guys from the Packers. One was only an intern and an assistant with one other team. That was the Falcons. When he came from the Packers, he was the tight end coach. Now, Nathaniel Hackett does have offensive coordinator chops, but that was with the Jaguars and with the Packers. So Hackett worked with LaFleur up there in Green Bay and with Rodgers.
Okay.
Defensive coordinator. But,
interesting.
But he picked the guy he picked as the offensive coordinator. Obviously, he knows him. They've worked together. I don't know how much hand-holding he's going to have to do for this guy, though, because, like I said, his resume isn't very extensive at all. The defensive coordinator is Ejiro Evero. He's a guy that's coached. He's actually coached on both sides of the ball. Usually your defensive coordinators have been DB coaches, linebacker coaches, or defensive line coaches. This guy has coached offense and defense. But his last coaching job, he was a defensive assistant with the 49ers and a linebacker coach, I believe, with the Packers and with the Rams. And he is now the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. So they don't have a whole lot of experience with their coordinators. I don't know how that's going to play out for Denver. Everybody was pretty hot and bothered when they got Russell Wilson, but I know. I don't know. From the
Interesting, this would seem to me, as you laid it out to us, to be just what Russell Wilson wanted. Because
Yeah,
think about it. I mean, top down, bottom up, your head coach and your quarterback pretty much have a lot more experience in their positions than these
right.
coordinators do.
Absolutely.
And that's what Russell wanted. He wanted, to have some say in what was going on and all of this kind of stuff.
He'll definitely have it now.
I'm still one of those guys that if I'm going to pay you 40 to 50 million dollars to quarterback my team,
Right.
you should be able to call your own plays. That's just my thinking. You should, you know what I mean? If I'm
or at least handle a series, my God.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't handle that, then I'm not giving you 40 million. That's ridiculous. But long story short, a lot of experience with the coach, a lot of experience. So, I mean, the coach has an opportunity to bring these guys along, but then, Russell has an opportunity to really be influential, in especially on the OC part, what's
Right.
going on there. So that's real interesting. All right. So roster moves for the Broncos.
We already talked about the biggest additions being Russell Wilson and Randy Gregory, the defensive end that they got from the Cowboys. DJ Jones, a defensive tackle. I'm not exactly sure where he's from.
Try my Niners.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, losses. Noah Fant was really becoming a pretty good tight end. It's going to hurt a little bit to lose him. Shelby Harris was a nice pass rusher from the inside on the defensive line. That they're going to take a hit there. And Melvin Gordon. Are we sure Melvin Gordon didn't re-sign?
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, when I put this together, again, it's been about a week.
Yeah, for some reason, I think I read that Melvin Gordon re-signed.
I'm beginning to think that you might be correct, but go ahead and I will confirm that.
Okay, they got a B grade for their draft. They didn't get a pick until the second round. They got Nick Bonito, who's a really nice linebacker out of Oklahoma, rangy guy. Plays the run pretty well, I believe, if I remember him correctly. So that's a good pick for them. And Greg Dulcich, a tight end out of UCLA, good size, but as another friend of the show, my brother Donald says, never take a receiver or a tight end out of the Pac-12. But that remains to be seen. So that's pretty much it for Denver.
All right. It looks as if they did sign him to a 1-year contract.
Okay.
All right. There you go. You think about Melvin Gordon coming out of Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
With our boy Corey coming in as a young freshman, and they had was White still there then? Because they had 3 running backs at Wisconsin who all hit 1,000 yards that season in Corey's freshman season. Everybody, including Corey, had 1,000 yards. I know White went to Wisconsin. I'm not sure if he was one of those 3, but Melvin Gordon.
They turn him out so fast, man.
Tell me about it.
They had a string of good running backs, one right after the other.
Exactly. And he signed a 1-year, $2.5 million contract.
Okay.
$100,000 signing bonus. So I'm going to tell you, man, the lifespan and the contract scenario for running backs is rough.
Yeah, he's basically, but here's the crazy thing though. He had a really good season last season. He played really well. Yeah, he played really well. So it's one of those things.
Healthy? That's always the question with him. Did he stay healthy?
And he did stay relatively healthy. Okay. I don't think he missed more than 2 games, if that, which was good for him. But he does have a history. So I think they're like, we probably should let him go, but we don't want to let him go. We might be able to squeeze a few more good games out of him. And he's a veteran. He's been in the locker room. You know, he's a
Yeah.
culture guy. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I
tough.
mean,
man.
he has running back chops. I just don't know if he has the muscle, the twitch speed, you know, and the speed and the quickness that he has. It's one thing to be, you know, in your mind faking the guy out. And it's another thing when he's looking at you like you moving kind of slow.
He played pretty well.
All right. Well, looking forward. I'm sure that'll be a big help to Dangerous, you know. So it looks like they're in pretty good shape, and the questions with their coordinators, but player wise, you know, Randy Gregory's going to bring a little smoke, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Nick Bonito from Oklahoma, linebacker, and Greg Dulcich, tight end from UCLA in the 3rd round. So, all right, that's pretty good. All right, Benny,